Anyways, welcome back. I won't be here for long because I still have a play to do, and it's time to die.
Also, we lost a member.
Well, fuck her. Anyways, back to this shit.
We're sorry for not updating.
Well, I'm not sorry.
That is true.
Mara looked at Lamar, who nodded. She grasped the doorknob, clenched her teeth, and forced the door to open in one motion.
Well, I told you it was open, you fucking dumbass.
Marla! Marla jumped, barely suppressing a scream. Jason was huddled in the space beneath the monitors, his eyes wide and terrified, staring at the door like a frightened mouse.
Jason!
Marla crawled into the control room and swooped him up into her arms. Jason hugged her back. For once grateful, even desperate for her intense affection, she held on tight, crushing him to her until he began to worry that he might be in fact crushed. From outside Marla's consuming embrace, Jason heard brief static. He looked over Marla's shoulder to see Lamar studying the walkie-talkie, preparing to speak into it.
Jessica, we found him. He's okay,
he said. More static and words Jason did not quite catch came from the radio. The voice of relief had worn off, and his ribs were starting to hurt. Marla! He tapped on the shoulder, first gently, then harder. Marla! She let him go, but took hold of his shoulder for a moment, peered into his eyes as if to be sure it was really him, that he had not been somehow replaced or irrevocably damaged.
Replaced as in a robotic child?
Yes, William's very, very good at making robots now.
Okay then. Jason.
Marla, cool it, he said casually as he could, managing to keep his voice from shaking. Marla let go of his shoulders, giving him a playful shove, and began to scold him as she pulled him from the rest of the way under the control panel.
Jason, how could you? Marla was interrupted as Lamar descended the rest of the way into the small room. For the event, really? I am terrible at cowboys.
Marla. Get it more nasally.
You could have been killed crawling through the air duct like that. I thought it said air like duck.
Oh, like duck, there's a duck.
Ma added, grasping his shoulders. Jason fought free, flailing his arms until she let him go.
Okay,
he exclaimed.
Everybody misses me. Good, glad to know that I'm important.
Well, you won't be for the next books.
Nope, or at all, ever again. We won't see you again. Goodbye.
You are important, at least for this book, Mara said fiercely. Jason rolled his eyes with
Theatrically?
Theatrically.
I think it's theatrically.
How do you roll your eyes theatrically?
Like, I guess. I have no idea.
Wouldn't that be like exaggerated though?
Yeah, that would be more exaggerated.
I just could have highlighted that shit just in case.
Our first highlight in 2 years. I'm kidding. It's not been 2 years, thank God.
Let's make it the biggest highlight then.
I was gonna die, but I have more home. But this is the holy one. The next one will be
Holy one number 2.
yes. The little room lit up as Lamar flipped the switch, bringing the screen to life. Lamar looked at Jason thoughtfully, then turned her to the security cameras.
Okay, let's see what we can see.
Lamar looked from screen to screen. The top middle screen showed the main dining room and the stage. As they watched, Charlie, Jessica, and John appeared, crossing the room in a V formation. Charlie at the front.
Look, Mara said Sally, pointing to the screen at the lower right. Look, it's a pack of wild lesbians.
The night guard was there, though they could not make out his face. His baggy uniform and sagging shoulders, not shaggy, told them that it was the same man. He was in the hall near the restaurant entrance, walking past the party rooms, and the arcade with a slow, purposeful gait.
Lamar, warn them! Marla ordered urgently. Lamar spoke into the walkie-talkie. Jessica, the guard is somewhere around there. Hide, you motherfuckers!
There was no response from the radio, but on screen the group of 3 froze. Then, as one, they made for the control room under the stage, squeezing in and closing themselves in just as the guard appeared in the doorway.
Voices, people moving around.
Oh wait, fuck, I'm Carlton. Voices. What should I do for him? Should he be a cowboy too?
Let them all be cowboys.
Well, not John. John's the British man.
Yeah, they're all cowboys.
Voices, people moving.
Carlton, thank God they put stars down there for a
Carlton
transition.
did not allow himself a sigh in relief. A rescue wouldn't do him any good if he got inside punctured by 100 tiny robot parts first. Instead, he continued with what he had been doing, inching his way across the floor. Oh my God. How? And into the view of this security camera that perched near the ceiling just above the door. Each movement was so scarce it felt like nothing. He had been doing this for over an hour, and he was almost there. He kept his breathing steady, using his trapped hands with his body a tiny bit, moving to the side and letting himself down again. Okay, I guess that kind of works. Just a little farther to the right. His fingers were cramping and his head still ached, but he was kept going regardless. Although he was still afraid, still painfully aware of how easily he could trigger his own death, at some point the fear had dulled, or perhaps he had just become accustomed to it. Panic could not last forever. Eventually adrenaline had run out. Why is panic like italicized? It looks italicized. I don't think it is.
It's not.
It looked like it. Now at least it needed for slow, precise movement took credence over everything else. It was all precedence. It was all there was. Carlton made one final movement and stopped. Closing his eyes on he made it. He had stopped now. The others were there, here. It had to be them. And if they were looking for him, they would check the camera. He stared up into the lens, willing himself to be seen. He could not wave or jump up and down, obviously. He tried walking back and forth a little, but no matter how stiffly he held himself, he felt the press of the spring locks ready to give. The bit of slip in frustration. Just let me see, he whispered to no one, but all at once he felt as if he had been heard. Felt that, oh, here comes fucking, what was his name? No, Michael. An inexplicable sense of someone else's presence in the room. His heart began to race. The adrenaline had given out, finding its second wind. Carefully, slowly, he looked around until something caught his eye. It's only one of the costumes, slumped empty in the shadows, half hidden in the corner of the room. It was motionless, but its face was pointed directly at him, staring. As Carlton looked back, he realized deep within the recesses of the costume sockets were two tiny glits of light. He felt his muscles twitch, a restrained shudder running through his body, not quite enough to get him killed. He did not look away. As Carlton held the creature's gaze, he felt himself begin to calm. His heart pounding eased, his breath grew even. It was as though he was safe, though he knew the suit he was wearing was only one flinch, one startled jump from killing him. Carlton kept looking at those two pinpoints of light. As he did, he heard a voice. In a gasping instant, all the air was up from his lungs, and the voice spoke. The voice he could have known anywhere. That voice he would have given anything to hear again. Carlton began to weep, using all his body for shaking. The eyes in the dark were intent on his face as the voice went on, speaking the secrets to Carlton in the ringing silence, telling him things that he dreaded, things that someone had to hear. And that's Michael. He's in the golden bracelet.
Why can't we hear what he's saying though? Why is it like unknown?
Because she doesn't have enough to use for them. She's like, well, should I tell them the kids were dead? Well, they already know the kids were dead. Oh, well, I'll tell them anyways. Again.
Like, it makes no sense. Like, secrets, and yet we don't get to see what this...
Because they're secrets.
I know, but that's the point of an audience. You're just experiencing the story. It could be known that Carlton can know the secrets, but it should be fair that the audience knows the secrets as well. Because they can't just, like, physically jump to the book until the characters, hey, guess what? Michael said this. Also, yes, he's alive, kind of-ish.
He's dead, but he's alive. Chapter 10! Yay!
How many more chapters?
I think there's like 14. Wasn't there 14?
That's the big holdup.
11.
13 is only 13, my bad. And 13 was the 13 is the shortest one because it talks about
Why is the chapter so
God damn
long?
it, I'm going to kill myself. Charlie and her father talks about them. Why is the chapter so long? Because she needs a word count. Come on. What do you think? What do you expect?
I know, but Frankenstein was much more interesting movie. And it had a
Obviously. The screens lost their pictures and flipped to static.
Hey!
Marla cried. She banged against the side of the monitor. The image lurched, distorted, then sputtered and went out again. She hit it again, and with another spasm of static, the image slowly cleared. As it resolved, the stage appeared.
Something's wrong. That's definitely
Lamar
wrong.
said, and all three leaned in forward, trying to get a better look. Bonnie, Jason said in a grave tone.
Bonnie! Marla echoed, looking at Lamar with alarm. Where's Bonnie? Lamar hit the button on the walkie-talkie. Charlie, he said urgently. Charlie, don't leave the control room.
In the control room of the stage, Charlie and Jessica
It's
appeared
like
at the
she
monitors,
remembered to
scanning
add
for life.
transitions.
Yeah, it's... Oh, Jessica.
Oh. It's too dark. I can't see anything on these.
That's actually pretty good, Jessica complained.
There, Charlie said, pointing.
Jessica blinked.
Jessica blinked. I can't see anything, she insisted. It's Carlton, right there. I'm going to go get him. Don't die, please.
Now waiting for a response, Charlie crawled towards the exit. Charlie, wait! John said, but she was already out of the door. It slammed shut behind her, and all three of them heard the dull metal thud of the dropping lock falling into place. Charlie! John yelled again,
Why
but
do
he
you
was
shut
already
doors,
gone.
you fucking dumbass?
It's bolted shut, John grunted as he pulled on the door. The walkie-talkie spluttered, and Lamar's voice came choppily from the little box.
Don't leave.
Jessica and John exchanged a glance, and John picked up the radio. Too late, he said, looking at Jessica as he lowered the walkie-talkie. It seems like they're trying to be like you know in the movies where like, someone dies and they like drop the walkie-talkie like fuck they're dead now. It seems like that's what they're trying to do with this one, and it's just kind of funny.
Troy made her way unsteadily between chairs, but after only most, she realized she had gotten herself turned around. The lighting had changed. Now a single blinding blue light was strobing on an arc above the stage.
Over and over, the room flashed with a blinding burst, like lightning, then instantly dark again. Charlie covered her eyes, trying to remember what she had bumped into first. Metal chairs and foil party hats pulsed like beacons in the dark with each burst of light, and Charlie's head began to throb. Obviously, but what the fuck? Why was this happening?
I don't know.
She squinted, trying to orientate herself, but beyond the table surrounding her, all she could see were thousands of after images burned into her retinas. She had no idea which way to go to find Carlson. She leaned against a nearby chair and pressed her hand slightly over her forehead. Tightly over her forehead. A table screeched against the floor briefly, and Charlie knew it hadn't been her. She turned around, but the light had gone dark. When it flashed again, she was looking greatly at the stage, where should have been three sets of eyes. She only saw two. Freddie and Chica stared down at her, plastic eyes catching the light. Gazes, my bad. The plastic gazes catching the light, twinkling with the strobe. Their heads seemed to follow her as she moved along the table. Bonnie was gone. Suddenly she felt exposed, all at once noticing just how many places there were in an open room for something to hide. Just how visible she was to anyone, anything that might be watching. She thought briefly the little control room she had just left and felt a pain of regret.
Coming out here might have been very stupid.
Oh no, shit, Sherlock! Another screech sounded. She rolled around to see the table behind her slowly moving away. Slowly moving away? Oh, her moving. Okay, I was about to say, I don't think Bonnie just went behind her, moving slowly away. She returned to run, but she signed something before she could take another step. She jerked up her hands into darkness to shield herself and touched matted fur. The strobe threw its lights out again, and this time garbled noises blared from the gaping mouth in front of her. Bonnie stood only inches from her, his mouth opening and closing rapidly, his eyes rolling wildly into the back of his head. Okay, Bonnie, I think you need to get some help. Charlie jerked away, then backed up slowly. The rabbit did not try to follow, just continued his bizarre silent incantation, his eyes aimlessly ricocheting in his head. Her foot caught the leg of a metal folding chair. She fell back, landing hard on her bottom. She started to crawl, staying low, hurrying to get away from Bonnie. A squat light flashed from the stage. This one clearly aimed at her. She raised her hand to see who was there, but the light blinded her. All she could make were two sets of following eyes. Charlie screamed and scrambled to her feet. She took off running out, looking back, and made it across the room into the hallway that led to Pike's Cove. She ducked into the bathroom along its wall. This is where Bonnie looks under, and it's like yeah, that picture. She ducked into the bathroom along its wall. So the door echoed when it shut behind her. The room was empty, with nothing but 3 sinks and 3 stalls. The only one fluorescent light was on, just barely, only enough to color the room dark gray instead of black. The metal walls of the stall dividers looked flimsy, and Charlie had a sudden vision of Bonnie, larger than life, grabbing the metal frame of his pallet and ripping it up from the ground. The bolts came right out of the floor. God damn! That's one strong animatronic, Charlie! She banished her thought and ran into the farthest stall from the door, slipping the lock. So small it almost looked delicate into place. We don't need that part right there.
It's a bathroom stall, okay?
That's great. She sat on top of the toilet tank, her feet pulled up onto the seat, and her back pressed against the blue tile wall of the bathroom. That's extra. We don't need to know that. In an empty room, Charlie could hear her own breathing echoing. She forced it to slow and close her eyes, telling herself to be silent, to hide.
Or just diary.
Disappear. Charlie! John was still pounding on the little door in the control room. Charlie, what's going on out there?
Jessica sat quietly, still roused from the screams and crashes outside.
She can take care of herself,
John said. easing his grip on the door. Yeah, Jessica said. He did not turn around to look at her.
We have to get out of here.
No shit!
John said. He ran out the door again. The top had a little pull, but the bottom was stuck fast. He hunched down farther. There was a lock, a deadbolt that dropped right into the floor. The latch to pull it open had broken off long ago, leaving only a jagged ledge so thin he could scarcely get his fingers around it. As he yanked upward, it cut into his finger, leaving thin red lines. The bolt stayed fast in place. Jessica, you try. If you think you can't get the lock, how do you think Jessica can get the fucking lock?
She has tiny fingers.
Her eyes were on the walls of the television. They were all showing static, but every now and then one flashed a picture. Never mind, John said. Keep watching. He bent his head again and went back to the deadbolt.
In the bathroom, Charlie was silent. Okay, what was the point of this entire skip here, though?
Just to show that John and Jessica were trying to get... Because the thing is, the problem with her is she doesn't go... See, it'd be easier if she went Charlie's point of view, Jessica's point of view. It would be easier for her to do that, but instead she does this thing where she goes to the different characters. She flashes back and forth, which confuses the reader sometimes.
At least now she's playing transitions. In the bathroom, Charlie was silent. She paid attention to each breath she took. Each inhale and exhale, a slow, deliberate process. I hate when there's too many details. Like, you don't need to describe
breathing. We all breathe. If you're not breathing, you're dead. Sorry to say that to you, but you're dead. So we all breathe. We all breath. So
I can't fucking breath.
I can't fucking breath, man.
She had tried meditating once. She hated it. Meditating would be probably really good right now.
The intense focus on her breathing was calming.
I guess I just needed the right meditation, she thought. Like staying alive in fucking simplicity.
The stall rattled briefly, but there was a distance and booming sound that went on for several seconds.
It's storming outside. But wait, they're inside the mall.
Mall? How the fuck does she know it's... Maybe it's Bonnie. She kept her eyes trained on the door. The light overhead was so dim it scarcely... Floor. No, it's the door. The light overhead was so dim it scarcely illuminated her stall. She held her breath. The light flickered and let out a brief hum. Then there was silence. The toilet tank she sat on felt unstable. She scooted to the edge of it to quietly let her foot down. This is the tip of her shoe touched the tile. The wide bathroom doors opened with a thunderous bang. Without thinking, she jerked her foot up, and the lid of the porcelain tank clanked like a pot clattering together. She held herself perfectly still. Her shoe was bending in the air, then carefully pulled her foot back and placed the top of the toilet seat.
That was too loud, she thought.
Carefully, she leaned forward and reached up with one hand to grasp the stall divider. She pulled herself up to stand slowly, the toilet seat rocking on its hinges beneath her feet. She peered out over the top of the two stalls next to her. It was too dark to see anything beyond the doll stall. The whole row of them swayed gently from her weight. That's bad. That's bad plumbing. That's bad anything. That's bad building in general. There was a shuffling sound. Something wide and heavy was sliding across the floor, not trying nearly as hard as she was to be quiet. Her eye turned from the stall door beside her to the bathroom door. The shuffling continued, but she could not tell where it was coming from. The sound filled the room. Suddenly, the nebulous sound resolved. It was crisp and was nearby. The wall she clung to trembled slightly. She pained her gaze around the room, hoping her eyes would adjust a little more. She could make out a trash can by the door and the outline of the sinks. Apprehensively, she looked back at the door of her stall, letting her focus creep along the edge until she set her eyes in the inch-wide gap along the door. Large plastic eyes stared black, unblinking and dry, fixed directly on her.
God damn it.
Two large, unnatural rabbit ears hung over the top of the door. Charlie clasped her hands over her mouth and jumped to the floor as fast as she could, dropping onto her stomach and scooting along the floor in the second stall. She heard Bonnie out the door of the stall she had just left, but the shuffling feet did not move. She crawled onto the next divider and to the stall nearest the entrance. This time her foot bumped the toilet behind her and the lid dropped down with a loud clank. Charlie froze. The shuffling did not move. For what felt like an age, Charlie held her breath.
He heard! He must have heard!
But Bonnie still made no sound.
Wait, how can animatronics hear, though?
Because the kids inside of them.
Ah, that's right.
Tori still held and listened, waiting for another sound of movement to make mask her own. Her breathing sounded louder than before. She lowered her head, trying to make out shapes along the floor. The shuffling sound resumed, and now without warning it was directly in front of her. She held her breath, desperately trying to make out any forms in the darkness.
There he is.
A large padded foot was just outside the door. If it hadn't stopped mid-step.
Is he leaving? Please leave, you fucking bastard.
Charlie pleaded. There was a new sound. Stiff fabric softly crunching.
What is that?
The foot outside the door that had not moved. The noise grew louder. The soft fabric fur twisting, stretching, tearing, and popping.
What is that?
I'm like, we're like a horror movie. Charlie dug, a bad horror movie, by the way. Charlie dug into the floor with her nails, holding down a guttural scream.
Scream, distract him. He's bending over. I don't know how he's bending over.
A large paw touched down gently in front of her.
It would have been more realistic if he like got down onto his knees and looked,
But he's not. He's just arching over. I can't even do that. A large paw touched down gently in front of her, then another shaped the creature's head. It was massive, filling the space under the door. Gracefully, Bonnie lowered himself to the floor and turned his head sideways until his eyes met Charlie. His giant mouth was open wide with a ghoulish excitement, as though he had found someone in a game of hide and seek. A warm burst of air rolled onto his skull.
breath.
Chloe clasped her hand over her nose and her mouth. The stench was unbearable. Another wave of it hit her face, hotter and more putrid. She closed her eyes, on the point of relinquishing hope of her escape. Maybe if she had her eyes closed long enough, she would wake up.
God damn it, Charlie.
Another gust of hot air shot, and she jerked back, hitting the back of her head on the toilet. She recoiled with pain, threw her arm in front of her, shielding her face against the attack. None came. She opened one eye.
Where is he?
Suddenly, the metal wall around her swayed with a resounding bang. Charlie said, startled, and covered her head and spine took again. The wall started rocking on their legs, the bolts screeching as they were yanked free from the floor. The whole assembly seemed ready to collapse. Charlie scrambled under the last divider and crawled to her feet, grasping
Bella, I told him to delete him and he said okay.
door handle and pull it shut as she ran out. She ran back to the main dining area, darting towards the controller. Her eyes no longer adjusted to the light. She ran with her hands in front of her, unable to see farther than her next step.
Jessica! She cried because I refused to say his name.
You mean John?
No.
Grabbing the doorknob and yanking it, pushing, nothing
Bella,
happened.
you want fries
it's
every
stuck.
day.
Something else is stuck too. John sounded from the inside. As Charlie struggled with the door, she glanced up to the stage. Chica was John.
Jessica!
Charlie said in desperation. Without waiting for a response, Charlie took off again, running for a hall to her left, trying to get as much distance from the bathroom as possible. The hall was almost completely dark. As she ran, opened doorways yawned at her with wide black mouths. Charlie did not stop to look inside any of them, instead of only praying that nothing jumped out at her. She reached the last door and paused for a brief moment, hoping against hope that it would be unlocked. Hoping against hope? Okay. She grabbed the knob and twisted. Thankfully, it fell open easily. She slid through the doors and closed it rapidly, trying to not make a sound. She stood watching the door for a long moment, half expecting it to be flung open. Then finally, she turned. It was only when she saw him. Carlton was there. His eyes widened in surprise when he saw her, but he did not move.
have to take PE once.
After her eyes adjusted to the dim light, she understood. He was trapped, wedged somehow onto the top half of the animatronic suits, his head poking out from the wide shoulders of the costume. His face was white and exhausted. Charlie knew why.
I'm passing it right now with like a
Spring locks. She heard her voice for a
I
moment.
passed it with
Snap off your nose!
How do you?
Oh, sorry.
I feel like he's
One question
Henry,
is
but
how
I
do
also
you
feel like
fail
he's like
gym unless you're not trying? Then
almost like it can snap off your nose. Like he's an actual father compared to fucking William.
imagine if they grade
Carlton?
you.
Charlie
the
said
grade you
cautiously,
get,
as if her voice
or you
alone
get a
might set
certain
off the
grade for
mechanisms.
a certain amount of
Yep.
laps on the pacer test.
He said with the same
Fun
faltering
fact is
tone.
being banned.
That costume is going to kill you if you move. Thanks! It's not like I've been sitting here forever or something.
He wheezed, having to make a laugh. Charlie forced a smile.
Well, today's your lucky day. I'm probably the only person who knows how to get you out of that thing alive by pulling you out with my woman string.
Somehow not killing you in the process.
Carlton exhaled a long and shaky breath.
Lucky me.
He said. Charlie knelt to his side, studying the costume for long moments without touching it. These two spring locks with the neck are holding
Ah,
anything
yes,
back.
the rare mating call of the rednecks.
She
Watch
said it
them
last.
as they honk their horn.
Sorry, I gotta try that. She did it
Honk their
last.
horn.
He just...
rigged them.
You just jig them, snap, and pierce your throat if you try and move. I have to undo those first, and then we can open the back of the costume and get you out. But you can't move. Carlton, seriously, it's not like you were stuck here forever.
Yeah, a serial killer man explained that not moving to me.
He said. Charlie nodded and went back to looking at the costume, trying to devise an approach.
Do you know what I'm wearing?
Carlton asked, almost casually. What the fuck are you asking?
The costume. Do you know what character I'm supposed to be?
Charlie studied it, then looked around until she saw the matching head. No, and it doesn't fucking matter, she said. Not everything he built made it to the stage. Her fingers suddenly stopped working. Carlton! Charlie carefully surveyed the array of costumes and parts that lined the walls and things.
My dad is not.
Carlton! She repeated. Is he in here? With the new sense of dread, Carlton struggled to get a look behind without moving.
I don't know.
He whispered.
I don't think so, but I've been kind of in and out.
Okay, stop talking, you fucking bitch. I'll try to work fast. I'm just gonna start adding in sentences because it's much more fun.
Charlie said she had the mechanism figured out, or at least what she thought she did. Not too fast.
Carlton reminded her. Carefully, slowly, she reached into the costume's neck and took hold of the first spring lock, maneuvering it until her fingers were wedged between the lock and Carlton's neck.
Careful with that artery. I've had it since I was a kid.
Carlton said. Shut the fuck up, you bitch, Charlie whispered. When Carlton spoke, she could feel his neck move. He was not going to set off the locks by talking, she thought, but the feeling of his tendons moving under her hands was unsettling.
Okay. Sorry, choking and nervous, he whispered.
He clamped down his jaw and bit his lips together. Charlie reached out hard into the costume's neck and found the trigger. With a stinging snap, the lock sprang against her hand so hard that it numbed her fingers. One down. She thought as she pulled it harmless out of the neck of the costume. She flexed her fingers until the feeling came back into them, then crawled over to Carlton's other side and began the process over again.
Dude, that's inhumane.
She looked over her shoulder from time to time, making sure every costume was still in its place against the wall. His skin was warm under her touch, and even though he was not speaking, she could still feel movement. Feel the life in him. Why the fuck are we talking about a pulse?
Because she is dun 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 somehow a serial killer as well.
Yeah, it's dumb.
She could feel his pulse against the back of her wrist as she worked. She blinked back unexpected tears. She swallowed hard and focused on the task, trying to ignore the fact that she was touching someone who would die if she failed him.
She worked open the spring lock again, taking the impact on the palm of her hand and pulling a disabled device free from the costume. Carlton took a deep breath in and she startled.
Carlton, don't relax!
He stiffened and exhaled slowly, his eyes wide and frightened. Right, still in a death trap, he said.
Why can he not relax? Wouldn't be relaxing more...
No, because if you relax... He's also been sweating, by the way, so if he relaxes and hits with the spring locks, he's fucked.
Oh, sports ball.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
Stop talking, Charlie pleaded again. She knew exactly how much danger he was in, and she could not bear to hear him speak now. If he was about to die. Okay, she said. Almost there. Don't fucking move. She crawled around behind him, where a series of 10 leather and metal fasteners held the back of the costume together. She considered for a moment. She needed to keep the costume still exactly as it was until the last moment. She sat down behind him and bent her knee.
Okay, yes.
Positioning herself so that she could hold the costume in place for her legs as she opened it. Don't know how she's doing that, but
I
okay.
didn't know you could.
Carlton muttered as though to put it. Can you do me a favor and kill that spider on my leg?
You actually
Thank
said
you.
the ACT instead of the ACT.
Attempting to put a joke together, but too tired and too scared to finish it. Charlie didn't answer. One by one, she worked the fasteners free. The leather was stiff and the metal tightly fitted, and each one fell back as she worked cleaning together. When she was halfway up the back of the costume, she felt a weight begin to shift. She gripped it tighter with her knees, holding it together. Finally, she undid the last one and laid for the neck. She took a deep breath. This was it.
Completely different from what anybody else had ever had.
Okay, Carlton, she said, we're almost done. I'm going to open this and throw it forward. When I do, you pull out of it as fast as you can. Is that like an entire
I gotta
suit?
go home and.
It's up to his neck. So yes, the entire suit. He has to get out of it and like that, or he could get one of his part of his body caught and just
Go slash her feet.
mutilated. Like if he had his legs still in there and they snapped back, he would have lost probably his entire leg. Unless you're fucking William Afton, then you don't die.
Mama said I'm going to open this third floor. When I do, you pull out of it as fast as you can, okay? Don't know how we're gonna fucking do it, but we're gonna use some magic and pixie dust, okay? 1, 2, 3.
She ate the costume open and flustered away with her string, and Charlton jerked back from it, toppling roughly into her. Charlie felt a sharp, quick pain on the back of her hand. She pulled it free. The costume skittered halfway across the room, leaving Claire. A series of snapping sounds, making noise like fireworks, and they both cried out, leaping back and banging into the heavy metal shelf. Together they watched the empty costume writhe and twist across the floor, the metallic parts snapping violently into place. When it came to a stop, Charlie stared, fixated. The last thing was just a torso, just an object.
Beside her, Carlton let out a low, pain groan, then turned and vomited onto the floor beside him, heaving and retching like he would be turned inside out. Wait, why is he vomiting?
Because he has a concussion.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. Charlie watched, unsure what to do.
Your mom's here.
I will see you tomorrow, and...
I won't see you tomorrow afternoon because I will be practicing.
Oh, that's right. Are you in the play?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I got a new laser sight for my rifle, and she hit that too.
Do you know where it is?
No, that's this corpse hiding.
No. You could tell or get your parents to allow you to
I feel like she would have been the person that's stupid enough to hide it in the
hold her